What's up, y'all?
Hey, what's up?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you guys are in here. You nervous?
Nah, not really.
Lil, Angie, you nervous?
Not at all.
A bit, yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here. So before we get into today's episode, could you please introduce yourselves and give us just a quick little bit of background on who you are?
Sure.
Start with you, Angie.
My name's Angie. I teach surfing. I have a school called Surf Pacifico. And I also have a little shop called Mantarraya. We sell bikinis.
You've been here for a while too, huh?
Yeah, 15 years. I'm from San Jose originally.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've had both businesses for 10 years. And also I have two little kids, Jaguar and Orion. So I'm a mom. That's my main job. Most important job.
So you have a couple things to do during the day, it sounds like.
Yeah.
2 shops,
A few.
2 kids, and now this.
Yeah, and this is a very cool project I'm very passionate about also.
I'm looking forward to hearing more. So let's bounce over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Daniel. I'm coming from San Jose. I didn't ask to come to Nosara, but suddenly I just appeared here. I'm working right now on Harmony Projects. I'm the sustainability coordinator right there. My background actually is like agriculture engineer. So I'm completely cool right here in this place. There's a ton of things that we can do in this town, and we're just putting the eye on it, and you go.
Right on. So who's this guy? Welcome back, Christian.
Thank you, sir. My name is Christian. I work for Nosara Recicla, and I get to coordinate things at the recycling center. It's been, I guess, about 1.5 years since I got here, and this is my second time here.
Hey, man, you cleaned up a bunch, man. You got haircuts and all kinds of stuff. You're looking tight.
It was my mom's request, so can't say no.
Well, shout out to your mom. That's a pretty good idea.
Yes.
All right, so what are we talking about today? Please fill me in on the project and just what's this all about?
Well, we have this cool project that we've been working on. It's a team of people working together, and what we are trying to create down the line is more awareness and consciousness in the community towards the waste that we are producing.
Okay. So
right?
it's recycling center based.
Exactly.
Sounds like
it's super important to work with the recycling center to bring awareness to the job that they're doing, and the way that we are gonna bring this out or represent this is through works of art, installations that are also functional. And we're starting with the first one right now, which is a super.
So that's why you're here.
Cool
so
one.
Does this have a name? Like, is it what's it called?
Yeah, the project is called Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis.
Interesting. So tell us a little bit more about why you want to do this.
Well, initially, the idea, I see every day surfing with different people, like a huge hunger to give back to the community and learn more and see what's going on in a place like this in Nosara. And I think we are super advanced in our way of thinking with how we want to grow in a sustainable way, right? So I thought it would be super cool to give visitors, but also community members and students and basically anyone, some ongoing projects to participate in that are working towards a goal, right? Something that is reachable and that is positive and that is real, right? So
how is Metamorphosis doing this? Like, what exactly is it that you're doing?
Well, what we're doing is we are building with waste or residues. It's kind of like a dome, like a reception area for the recycling center, so that it'll be something beautiful and attractive and functional when people come here. And actually not when they come here. It's something that will draw people to the recycling center because they're going to want to see this. It's
I got it. So you're trying to kind of make lemonades out of lemons and go from the ugly place where people don't want to visit and turn it into something really cool.
Yes. Right. And then by bringing people here, we'll create the awareness, we'll get them working, because once you get there and you meet Christian and the guys, it's like you want to be a part of that. And
I got you.
And in order to create something like this, we have an amazing guide who is a Costa Rican artist from San Jose that has been doing this for a while, working with residue, creating works of art that are of a huge impact, right? They are shocking, but also beautiful.
All right. So I'll try to say it back back to you. So you guys want to create some sort of building that essentially is an art project / almost visitor center for the recycling center, to where people want to go look at this, and then your hopes is that once they're there and they see this, they'll get more involved. Is that it? Did I get it kind of?
Right. And the whole idea to this is not only to create awareness and consciousness, but also to bring the community together, right? The locals, the tourists, the students, the business owners, just pretty much anyone. So working together towards a common goal that is not only functional, but beautiful, right? And also this super important to raise funds for our recycling center and help it to develop into what Christian has planned for the future, right? Of course, we need funds for that.
For just a moment, we pass the mic over to Christian. Sure. So,
yes,
Christian, last time we talked, you basically explained in great detail how the recycling center is broke and it needs donations to survive, and it makes far less money than it costs to operate. Have you had any miracles that have changed since then?
I mean, we get to keep our job, right? I mean, we're still going at it.
But you still need donations and money.
Yes, I mean, yeah, that's the way we approach it, is that each house in the American Project could donate $10 a month. And if they can do 120 at once to cover their yearly donation, those are the funds that are keeping us, I mean, alive. I wouldn't say that's a little too dramatic, but those are the
keeps you functioning is probably
keep us functioning. And yeah, I mean, we're still at it, so that's good news, right?
Okay, got it. So back to you, Angie. So what I just heard Christian say is we still need money, and what you're saying is you want to create this unifying force, or our location, that people will be encouraged to make more donations and also volunteer perhaps as well, and just get the whole thing going. And you're saying that's between businesses, tourists, people who live here part-time, just between everyone. You're trying to get everyone involved in the recycling center issue.
Right.
So we can keep Christian functioning.
Exactly. And one of the main things is also to make this available for the schools, the private and the public schools, so that kids participate from the beginning in this process, from the moment when they are starting to collect the waste or the residue until they are learning to build a new construction technique.
Gotcha. So
right?
full circle, from
right.
the waste itself, you guys are going to want to take recycled materials essentially and rebuild this beautiful structure and let people be a part of the whole circle of trash or circle of waste or whatever I'm trying to say. Is that the vibe?
Exactly.
It is.
All right, so let's move into the structure itself and exactly kind of how you're going to do it. So Danny, what is it that you brought in today, and what is it that you guys are trying to accomplish?
Yeah, sure. Well, here we have, it's a very cool panel, actually.
You pass it over here?
Yeah, sure. Here you go. It is made essentially by cardboard and glass, okay? The real reason why we wanted just to do this is, as Angie was talking about before, and seeing into a nature's perspective, the first two, or the main materials, comes from nature, you know? So cardboard is essentially paper, and it's come from trees, and glass comes from sand or silicate, you know? So what we're doing is transforming or doing metamorphosis into this. And what we're going to do is connect these whole panels. We're just trying to have around like 1,600 about these ones. Okay.
You mean 1,600 of the pieces that you're holding
exactly,
right now?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's made of what again?
It's cardboard and glass, okay? But the way you stick it is, it's super interesting, okay? Because what we're doing here is something that is completely waterproof, okay? So it doesn't get the water to get inside.
So you're saying 1,600 of those equals the building or the dome that you guys want to build?
Initially, we're thinking about 64 square meters, okay? And it's a complete cool way just to transform these kind of materials. What I really like is that we're going to create shade. At the end, what trees wear, or the function about them, is like create shade also. So, you know, it's like transforming everything into the way that you can have the things as the very beginning.
So as you walk into the recycling center, your goal is to have about a 64 meter ish building. I don't know what the term is, or dome / building made of this. And I'm guessing when the light comes through that glass, it makes them pretty impressive.
Yes. And we already don't know how it's gonna look, you know. So this is a tremendous or option just to see what's gonna happen, you know, because especially or essentially with light, that's something that really brings attention to people, you know, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah,
that sounds kind of interesting. So, Christian, let's bounce over to you. So, what do you think about this? What's from your perspective? Because you live there, you're on site, like that's your hood per se.
Yeah.
What's your take on all this?
No, I mean, this is huge, right? To tell you the truth, the way we picture it, if I may say, is that we've been almost like keeping faith for all this time, almost like waiting for this one guy that it was gonna fix everything, that it was gonna bring machines, like get everything to industrial level, like we can take all the plastic and that person hasn't got here, like, and we feel this project is so important because it really kind of adds up all the community effort, a lot of key players into this, all lead by this one guy, which is a monster at what he does. Like,
hey, so let's talk about him, about Francesco himself. Who wants to take a crack at describing that fella?
I could give it a try real quick. I mean, this guy Francesco Racci, he's an architect, I guess. He's an artist. He's been doing all these structures, not only in Costa Rica, but outside Costa Rica. And everything he does it with the purpose. It's a very strong message, always with recyclable materials.
Well,
right?
how did you meet him?
I know him from San Jose from when we were kids. So when we started talking about maybe doing some sort of art form at the recycling center, I decided to message him and talk to him and see if he would be interested. And he was super excited to be invited. And we were like, oh my God, I can't believe he said yes, right? Because he's really, really awesome. And he's like a super down to earth, humble, cool guy.
That's
cool. You know,
cool.
it's really nice to work with, really, what we say, like flexible, right? Like we're the first thing he did when we came for the first like recognition tour, he was like, okay, Christian, what is causing you a problem here? What is the material that you're having a challenge with?
Yes.
Right? So that's when Christian told him about the problem that he's having with the cardboard just piling up and rotting there, and no place to have that, and no use to make of that, right?
Yeah, and I really also, or adding about that comment, is that Francesco Racci really, it's like fitting into the Nosara vibe, you know? Like he's doing everything within all of these recyclable materials. And even me, coming from San Jose, I've seen too many pieces of art that he's done. And they are astonishing. Actually, when you see it, it's like, whoa, this is impressive. So we want also to create something impressive. You know, we are all part of the creation of residues. So at the very end, we gotta be like cautious, and we gotta understand the real problem about it. And you said it correctly. The cardboard is the main problem right now on the recycling center, and specifically because we don't have, or the Costa Rican recycling market doesn't have like too much interest in to buy cardboard. You know?
I got you. So on that point, Christian, is it still items number 1 and 2? What are the numbered items that you can sell right now that you guys need?
Yeah, we take like ordinary residues, which is what they call whatever comes out of a regular house. Like we take plastics 1 and 2.
Right. So
out of the whole 7 types, just 1 and 2 bottle type plastic, like bottle looking like plastic. We take cardboard, even though we're not selling it, we're not doing anything. It's just piling up and getting wet outside the recycling center. One of the conditions and the nicest thing why cardboard has been like introduced along with glass in this module thing is because cardboard, just like Danny said, it doesn't have a steady place in the national market for recycling goods, right? It's just, it has practically no value, and this is the one material that almost ends up choking or making all recycling centers very complicated. Like it needs to be always dry, it needs to be clean. So if you start piling up,
this is like your pain in the neck product here.
We say like very openly that cardboard is a bitch. I don't know if it's all right to say this, but within what we do, it's just something that we don't We don't want to put it inside our recycling center, because just like in Santa Cruz and Liberia and any other recycling center, it's just gonna mess up everything you're doing without even creating you a profit. I don't know if that's the way.
Are we able to use cardboard from Nosara for this, or are you going to buy it from somewhere else, or how does that work?
No. Right now we have a bunch of cardboard, so I think there's no need to bring more.
So we can use our own waste from Nosara to build this new
and
structure.
Just to remember, we're still producing it. So we're just keeping going. We gotta find a way how we're gonna do it with it. We deal with it.
Well, I'm guessing that you need money to make this happen, right?
Sure.
Do you guys know how much?
Well, everything starts coming from the visits from the artists, and also the way that we're gonna buy different materials. Fortunately, we have sponsors that are working with us, providing some glue, as well as some cutter blades. Even though we're having the most important thing, and that's my part of this on this process, or this team. It's like bringing volunteers, so coordinating people is something that is not complicated, but normally people make assumptions about it, so the best way to keep it on track is like being able to determine how many people you're gonna need. And as Angie said, this is something that is not gonna come also or only from the hotels. We have this educational component that is very valuable, and it's bringing something that has no value at all as recycling or residue, and transforming into something that it really has value and emotional value. It brings aesthetics into the community, but none less than that, it's like you have the option to educate people by doing something, okay? And what I mean by doing something is like put your hands on, okay, and understand the real situation and how complicated it is to get these materials, and how too easy it is just to dispose it incorrectly. So this is like the essential of everything, like creating awareness, as Angie said, okay?
I got it. So do you know how many volunteers approximately you need and how much money you need? Like, what can the community do for you guys?
Can I ask that question?
Go ahead.
We did one first workshop. We were 21 people out there, and we create around 60 different blocks of these ones, or panels, in a time scale for around 3 hours, I think. And we have seen that it's very, very easy. So when people, or we can create these a linear process, we can get very easily. How many people? I would say that within the more hands we have, the easier it goes. So I won't give you any calculation right now, because we have this beautiful program or volunteer program at Harmony Projects. And we have seen that people, it's always striving or trying to go into the way that you can give back something. So I would say that probably around a group of how many people? Maybe 5 people, they can create around 60 or even 70 of these ones.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Right now, one thing that we want to create is have a weekly workshop. Probably it's going to be on Thursdays, so that people can come and volunteer at any time. And also we want to set up a system, or we are starting to set up a system, so that anyone, if you're a tourist or if you're just here for the weekend or something, you can go and volunteer and learn how to make the technique. The cost for the first workshop with the first one that we had was $600, and we already got 300 in donations. So we are missing 300 more. We have a few sponsors. We have Harmony Projects, we have Del Mar Academy, we have Grupo Nosara, Ferretería, Super Nosara, Banco Popular, Nosara Community for the Arts, right? Noca.
They're super excited to participate. Yeah, they are super excited.
So are you saying you guys don't really need any more cash sent your way? You mainly need volunteers?
We do need cash. We still need to cover our $300 for the last workshop. And we are going to need not a lot of cash down the line, because we're going to try to do it all with donations of very few materials, and of course residue and volunteer work. But in these kinds of projects, you always need to pay for stuff. Sometimes you need to pay for things. So
that's why I'm asking.
Exactly. So we do need donations to set up a fund to work on this. But the main thing of this project is that it'll finance itself and it'll help finance the recycling center. So that's the whole goal, right? We don't want to just do it for fun. Of course, it's fun, but the goal is to generate cash for the recycling center by including people that come to participate. Okay, so that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I think part of the charm is that there's a whole bunch of us, right? Like there's a group of people that are really pushing forward for this. We happen to be here, right? But there's Tavo from the Harmony storytelling department. He's putting together like a first way of communicating this, right? Like a formal way, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
There's Maria from Del Mar, which is their art teacher. There's who else?
Guardianes.
There's Ali from Guardians of Nature. Jessica's super incredible program that is hitting
Shout
on
out
schools.
to Jessie.
Oh yes,
She can
of
take
course.
over the world.
Yes, she's my boss. Also Cookie, which happens to be my
Shout out
boss.
Cookie.
Yeah, there's
You
a
got
lot
some
of.
powerful women that you work for.
I'm just missing Beto and Bobby. Yeah, so.
Oh, you can work for them later.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's.
We all work for Bobby. That's
yeah,
kind
we
of
all,
it.
we all work for Bobby.
Whenever she starts snarping at something,
Yeah. She's like, yeah.
There's around like, I would say like 10 people going into the whole like management process, and we are involving, or there's two different like mindsets of everyone. So we're just creating and contributing this within a whole strong like community based group, because we also have people from community. They just listen to the project and they just want to share the experience with us. So we're open. Actually, we're not a closed section. We're completely open about this. I think this is a property of us. When I mean us, is everyone right here in Nosara.
Right. If I might add something, it's just that, well, we got Francesco, which people might not have heard of him, or, I mean, you just Google the guy, Francesco Racci. You just go to images.
spell it real quick.
Francesco, F-R-A, and just put me on the spot.
Spell the last
F-R-A-N-C-E-S-C-O, and Bracci is B-R-A-C-C-I.
All right, that'll probably get you there.
Yeah. So I mean, just Google the guy's name. Just go to images and just click on a couple.
Hey, is he okay if we put some pictures while this
definitely.
spinning?
Yes,
Is
my
that
bad.
a good thing for him?
Yes, definitely. And it turns out that this involves not only creating a structure, not only fueling like Angie's very own project, which is huge as well, that goes hand by hand with what we're doing, but it involves everybody, right? So just to get you an example, on Thursday mornings we welcome regular folks that helps us sort all recyclables, right? In the afternoon, like today, we're gonna welcome Harmony staff volunteers. They're not gonna sort material or stuff or whatever. That they're gonna help us do this, right? This is the second group this week. So I mean, what we want is to be able to take. I mean, come on, the guy just built a machine to cut glass, right? So suddenly, just because of that, we can start turning like a whole bunch of bottles into a lot of cool stuff just because of that detail, right?
Yes.
So, yes, please.
And also, right now, because the low season, we don't have enough materials or residues in order just for them to work, and people wants to do something at the recycling center. So this is the perfect excuse, like, yeah, we still have something to do. And what I really like, or the word that I like about this is this is something that is not static. This is something that is always dynamic. It's always moving, and Metamorphosis is about that, it's always moving. But I don't want to go into that details. I want to talk about that later, because I think that name, or the concept about the reality of the name, or it's super amazing. I think it's like it really hugs you, like.
Well, I guess actually that's a perfect segue. So the name Metamorphosis, you already kind of did a nice intro there, but that was going to be my next question. Is so where'd that name come from? What does it mean to you guys?
Super
and what's
funny
up?
the way it comes, right? It came super natural. We were talking in the containers right there in the Harmony projects, and we were just thinking how we're gonna do this, or what's gonna be the name, because everything needs to have a name in order just to create the concept. And I don't know. I think Emily was the one who had the idea, saying like
Is that
Metamorphosis.
Emily Giglia?
That one.
Shout out to her.
Yeah.
Perfect. And well, she had that idea, and we just see each other, and we were like, yeah, that's the name. That's the name.
Yeah.
You know, so as I mentioned at the beginning, this is metamorphosis. We as humans, we're just transforming things into the goods that we require, but we still have our responsibility to do something with our materials too.
Got it. So as humans, we create waste that normally flows this way. With this project, you're literally flipping it all back around. We made the waste, but the waste is now turning into this, and that's also something beautiful, and that affects every demographic. Now people will come to the welcome centers. They'll have a welcome center at the recycling center. They'll want to walk in, and you're basically just flipping the whole thing around right now. It's going from the ugly place that you don't want to go to into this really cool, trendy, nice place you want to be. And as people come through, hopefully they'll change and get involved and donate and get active. Is that kind of the gist?
Yep.
Yeah, and this is actually like the first stage in a longer term project that we've been talking about. So this would be like the first installation. And then, like you said before, this is not something that we want to rush. We want to do it slow, steady, but we want to get it done, right? And we want to eventually build a few more installations around the town in places that are very high traffic, like, Guiones and Pelada, and then places in town that we want to activate and get more people over there to see like the real part of Nosara and know that Nosara is not only Guiones, but it's a huge community, right? And then we want each of the art pieces to reflect specific waste that is being generated there, right? So we thought like maybe Guiones, the residue might be foam, plastic from surfboards, right?
Gotcha.
So that
so
we have
you could change materials.
Sure.
Exactly.
But in keeping this recycling gospel.
From Pelas, what was it?
Nosara, we talked maybe about having fishing residue, and then maybe Ali had the idea in the schools maybe do something with plastic bottles and things from junk food to give like kids more awareness of what they are eating, and so that everything is a message. And then maybe one day we'll have enough pieces so that we can do a city art tour and people can go around the different works of art and finish up at the recycling center to see like the main one. So that's
so
like the
you have
idea
some
down
big
the road.
aspirations.
Yeah. And it became just as metamorphosis, it's like everyone is changing our behaviors, changing the way we think about our food, changing the way that we're doing or the residues right there in the beach. And also the way we are as people are changing ourselves. So it's amazing. I think like, as Angie said, like there's just not one only one, like we're just still thinking how are we going to improve this one. So it's a constant movement. That's the word, dynamic. So everything is moving. It's vibrating. So it's amazing.
No, I think it's everything. The beauty of it, once again, is that everything's happened very natural, right? Like, it's almost like people are running with certain people and they're talking about it, and suddenly they're just right next to us. Like this is what we could do. Like this, we could share within this particular part. Like, so it's all, I guess the main idea is that number one, we haven't even pictured how cool it's going to be. That's number one. Number two, we have teamed up with one of the most capable guys out there that could really make this happen. And I mean, it's almost like the perfect excuse to start talking about a lot of things, right?
It is a construction process, actually,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we're building it all together. So that's what it is, Christian. At the end, and it really makes me feel happy. I don't know. I'm glad. I feel like proud of it.
I think everybody's happy about it.
Yeah,
I can tell you guys are fired up. All right, let me jump to the other side of this and ask you a couple tough questions. I see that you're happy. I think it's a great idea. I can't poke a hole in it. Can't think of a reason not to do it. But let me ask you this: what is someone listening to this discussion? What does someone do to get involved? Like, what's the next step? That's the part of this I don't fully understand right now. And I think someone listening might want to know is, all right, well, what can I do? So can one of you guys jump in and help us understand that?
You can do two things. Well, you can do a few, but the main things, you can donate If it's $20, if it's $50, if it's $100, it would be amazing, right?
And where can they donate that at?
You can contact any of us, and you can come and volunteer at the recycling center and learn this, because we want to train enough people to
and
do
that'll
this
be on
technique.
Thursdays? Is
On
that
Thursdays.
the plan? And when
At
is
1,
that
right?
starting, or is it already started?
At that first stage, we can just open this to continue doing it in schools, for example, with Guardianes de la Naturaleza. So what we're doing, we're thinking just to do this like in a sections where we can create like a group of those in one school and then bring it into the other school. So we're just supporting everyone to know what we're doing, And what was the question you said?
The question is, what can someone listening to this do to get involved? Is there a time and place they can show up to make those? And you answered earlier, they can donate, and the way they can donate is through the Harmony Projects channel. Is that what you want? Or do you want people to donate just as if they're making a recycling payment?
Well,
donation?
Actually, Harmony Projects, what it's doing right now is like letting the opportunity to open up the space to talk and have discussions about this. We also have this beautiful program, Artists in Residence. So we're just bringing people over here, many artists, and right now Francesco in this case, and we're just doing the promotion for them to feel comfortable and have have food and whatever, and also just providing like the connection between where you can sleep, where you can eat, and where you can also give the workshops to everyone right there.
That's cool. So, but I'm still wondering, where, if I want to donate to this, where do I do that, or how?
Really, right now I'm just visiting the potential sponsors and picking up the money.
So we're
just
at the very
we can
beginning.
Cover for the initial
We're still
costs.
figuring that out.
Yeah. I
starting.
think we have one beautiful option that is like doing like a single, I would say, contract. I would say it in Spanish like a factura or recibo, like receipt. So you can donate us, and you also will receive a paper or something that is saying that you thankfully you are just sponsoring this project with us.
Like we were saying before, it's really hard to ask for contributions when nothing's happened yet. So that's why we had the first workshop, to get people here to see what we're doing, to start doing our tests, But that initial workshop had a cost, right? So that's what we're trying to cover. And really, what we are missing is just $300. It's not a lot
I get you.
to cover for that, right? Later on, we'll probably have more costs, but right now, what we're doing is trying to cover that initial cost and get more people involved in whatever they can do. And I know that once they start to see what's happening, they'll want to be like participate more. One thing that you can also do is, if you, for example, if you teach surfing, or if you work at a property management company, or if you work at a shop or something like that, if you're a guide for any kind of tour, is tell people about this, because most people are super stoked to see that this kind of project is happening and they want to participate. So they come to the recycling center, they talk to Christian, they see the dump, they get super inspired, right, to act. And that, I think that is one of the main things, is to inspire people, right, into changing their habits and like their everyday habits, and also giving back while they're here, right? Because they take a lot, which is great. We are a tourist town, so we like to offer service and quality and everything, but it's also really nice when people can give something back with their time and their volunteering and all that, and then take back some ideas or lessons that they learned that they want to implement in their home.
And talking about lessons, you said something about doing tests. Right now we're on our phase 2. The first number 2, it's after the workshop that was the first one, is creating this prototype. So we're trying to have people within this full month, and also the October one, to create the prototype and put it into the super rainy season, to test how it's gonna be, if it's gonna work, if it's not gonna work. So we're gonna learn.
Seems like an important detail.
Yeah, and believe me, the way that is built it right now, it is not completely done, because we need to put some kind of resin on the cover, So this is gonna be add extra protection. But what I'm saying is, like, we're being cautious about all of this, because we will want to fool people, And at the end, we gotta be honest within the things we're doing, okay, and try and test it. before just creating and just going and flying away, you know, like you gotta be like ground.
It doesn't melt on the first.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta put your feet on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess the best way to summarize part of what we talked about is that this has already been figured out by this one guy, right? By Francesco and some of his friends and everything. And each of these modules, it's part of something that he calls a building, what was it, like a building system, right? Like a constructive system, right? So, un sistema constructivo. So I guess what we're trying to say with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of, you know, like positiveness or whatever, is that we have just started this. Like there's a first, like the very first stage was Angie contacting him, you know, him coming and visiting with his daughter. We took him for one of the nicest trails by Luifer, a fireman, by Hunter, right?
Bomberitos.
And they lead us almost in a 3-hour tour with Bobby Johnson, with Irena from Cebu. Like, it was a very nice moment for him to understand or get to meet a lot of people from Nosara. He went to the recycling center and he went home saying, okay, I need to do something with cardboard and maybe something else. Boom, that's what he comes up with, right? Now he just did one workshop, which it involved the people that are already like part of it, right? So the whole idea is that from this workshop, we can at least learn how to lead a next workshop that we can take anywhere, like to any school, to any other place. And once again, the nicest format of this whole thing is that this itself is a work of art, right? Like every small module of those requires a lot of effort, a lot of, you know, you gotta do things with love, right? So if you come,
we gotta do it with love, and it also needs to work, which is what Danny's point was.
Exactly, right.
So I'm gonna take a stab at trying to say this all back.
Yes.
So here's the synopsis, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. You guys are in the very early phases of this. You have the artist, he's committed to this. Everything's cool there. Right. You know what you want to do and where you want to start. You want to work with this cardboard glass idea eventually that's going to have some resin, but you're still firming up that product. Mm-hmm. So as that product tightens up and you figure out exactly what you need to do with that, that's when you can start asking for money, and you know, because you'll know what you're dealing with. In the meantime, you're trying to use the rainy season to get everything together so that this high season, when the cardboard comes flying back in, you can start cranking this stuff out. Did I kind of get it there?
Yeah, perfectly.
All right.
Perfectly.
So just one thing with these ones that we're making right now, we want to build a 2x2 mini dome there at the recycling center. That it should be up soon, right? So that it'll be there through the rainiest part of October, like Danny said.
Make sure it works.
The huge test, right? And that'll be like what we're gonna try it with before building the big one. So
Makes sense.
Each one of those has to go through a quality control process to make sure that the water's not coming in and everything to make sure that it works. So first we're building the small one to try it, and then once that one stays up, then we're gonna continue with the bigger
So
one.
how about this? Let's well, first off, thank you all for coming in. This is very helpful. I just learned a ton. I love it. That's awesome. It's super cool. Like you said, let's make sure it works. And then how about you guys come back with the updates, like when you're ready to progress the next phases, and we'll keep beating the drum for you and getting the word out there, because this one's easy to support. There's really not anything negative.
I would like to add something about this. Being or thinking in a scientific way, do my background, is you can get a lot of science about this. And when I talking about science, is we can have storytelling about how much cardboard we have. I would say reuse, how much glass, how we reuse. Also, you can have a social impact about how many people have been like adding this into their values. And being specific about that is like, it's like community engagement. You can know how many hours of volunteer. You can know how many beneficiaries get about this. And, you know, we can create something that is science. You need to speak about data, and data is going to give you the real advantage about this, you know? Because if you don't have it, you would not have the option to take the decisions. And this is moving process.
It'll help you going forward too, because you said the main goal, the long-term goal is to get different locations. And the more data you can compile, improve your success.
Exactly.
I think at the end, what we want to do is try to save the world, you know, and it's kind of challenging, but we got to do the less you can do is like do it small and replicate fast, you know, and by doing this is when you're going to like win different battles instead of like going into a massive battle. So yes, there's a lot of scientific things that you can get out of this. Yes.
Adding to that, we also can get Christian some much needed shade.
Yes. No, it's yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things going on right now, right? Like many positive things. Like we're gonna get a raise. Boom, that's very nice. We're gonna get our own truck. We're very close to having potable like water at the recycling center. Dude, there's so many things. Like we're gonna get a new uniform. Hey,
you're gonna get all these things as long as people make their donations. So
yeah, we're so far so
don't
good.
forget
That's
to make
an
your
important
donations,
message.
people.
Yes, and I mean, everything's in a very positive mood. Like everything's like really kind of starting to shape, right?
So you feel good because I think about you sometimes, Christian, because you have a job when someone's in front of you. It's very easy to thank you and be super into it. Oh man, that guy's awesome. Well, that's great. But here's the deal. As soon as I drive away, I go back off to my life and you go back to that location. You're still there. You're in this all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're in front of a group and people are focused on this, you're a hero. But hear me out. Here comes the backhanded compliment part of this. But as soon as they're not in front of you, they're back to their busy normal lives. And and this is what you were trying to say, I think earlier, Angie, you need people to stay in this more and like get unified, and all different types of people, from tourists to business owners to locals to kids to old people to young people to gringo to tico to everything. And that was your point about metamorphosis. Change this whole freaking thing.
Exactly.
It's where it's not just a Christian who lives on site at the dump who's doing so much of it, and the other people there, and all the rest of us just are bebopping about our normal lives. It's getting all of us to think about it, and that's what you're trying to do. That's the impression I was getting.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and even though I think we already have been transformed by Nosara, so we are just not outside from our reality. We are just always part of it, you know? So I don't know. It happens to me. Every time when I'm producing residues in my house, I just try to do the less impact that I could, you know, because that's my responsibility. And I think that we got to share that responsibility into the way that you can share something that is tangible. And doing something that is tangible is going to crack your head. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to give you like, boom, like the real impact about it. You know?
I think people are going to have to hear about it a little bit, and then it'll garner more traction, and then it'll blow their mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you guys got to drip this.
Yeah.
Slow, steady, consistent.
First effort was made by Zach, of course, by the Nosara Times, of course. Zach was there on the very first workshop. He was with his daughter. Christina was there. He was like taking pictures, like getting all the proper info, right? And his effort to communicate it first, it was very nice, right? Now we got this opportunity, which is huge, right? We got, like I said, we got Tao, which he's going to be his own version of how to communicate this. And as we go, I think we can all celebrate that like this is happening, right? Like it's.
We'll see.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
We're gonna find out pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right. So
here's the question: you want to be part of it?
I think I already am.
Yeah, you are.
I just had you here. I actually have a real job that's supposed to pay me stuff that I'm not doing every second I'm doing this. So
you're invited. Please come up any Thursday, I think, and you will be like knowing everything, and you're gonna be part of this amazing process. I think it's gonna be amazing, and kids gonna love it, mom's gonna love it, dad's gonna love it, everyone's gonna love it. I think, and that's gonna be the very good way to give something to the community back again.
So your project sounds great. I love it. I don't have anything negative to say. I'm looking forward to helping it and supporting it and all these good things.
Thank you.
But I want to change subjects while you're here. I want to ask you a couple questions. First, I'd like to know, what is your biggest dislike in Nosara, not counting anything to do with recycling, like just around the area, everywhere people live, there's something that's kind of bothers you or something that's negative. So I'm interested in hearing that from you. I already know the positives. We know about nature and surf and health and getting to hang out with Christian and all that. But those are great. But what's the bad?
Rich, I would think that normally that you're just coming from San Jose or coming from US, people from town would think that you're going to be the savior of all the problems. And I think that we got to understand that we're going to be we need to be part of co-creation, and we need to get up on board and go all together. You know, even me, that I have worked in two other places in Costa Rica, I have seen this phenomenon too many times, and I think that's not the good way that you gotta find out how to get out from easiness. And easiness is my biggest dislike. Yeah.
I got you. So personal accountability and being the solution, not wanting it to come from some other place.
You got it.
That's a pretty good one. What's up, Christian?
I
know it's hard for you to talk about anything you dislike. So
on a negative note, no.
you had to say no.
There's this one very well-known gap or distance in between the most commercial part of Nosara, the touristic side of it all, like surf, yoga, wellness, and everything. And there's everything else, right? That's a well-known fact, or that's a well-known feeling for everybody. My biggest dislike comes within how far away both of them are in regards to...
So basically the Tico populace and then the Gringo populace, how it's kind of two different worlds?
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's what you're getting at, right?
Yes, it's very complicated to even consider something that could work for both ends. Like
that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, and when you try to think about a project like this, just to put it on a perspective, we just have to be extremely positive, right? Regardless of how negative that is, we just have to be very positive and try to cover all possible approaches.
I would add in the word, even more than positivity, is you need patience.
Yes, that's true.
Because you have different demographics. You have young, old. Some people understand it. Some people don't. You have Ticos, you have Gringos, and even in the Gringos, I guess Gringo just applies to people from the U.S., but really you have people from Canada, from Europe, from the United States, from all these different places, all coming together for a project, and that's unique.
Yeah, and at the very end, I think that we're losing a very good option, or we're losing a good opportunity cost. You know, like we gotta go and strive all together in order how to fix this problem. You know?
Yeah, there is a big difference in cultures. You're the guy to talk about that too, Christian. So that's a good one.
The last thing that I have brought on previous shots or whatever, or attempts to explain this, is that if you were to care a bit more about the other side, you end up discovering a whole new environment, a whole new culture, and a whole new way of looking at things.
Hey, does this go for both sides, or is it just one side is ignoring the other?
My favorite example is how you won't be harmed just to go on a Friday night to have a beer at Nosara downtown. Like, your integrity is not at stake, right?
So you can leave Dionis and go into Nosara town.
Exactly. You can go and have a blast and have cheap beer and have a great time, and I know it sounds funny, but not get stabbed. I just keep going to that.
You might get stabbed, but
yeah,
probably
you
not.
might get stabbed, but what? It's all good. No, but all I'm saying is...
But does it go the other way too? The Ticos are welcome to go surf, and they're welcome to go...
The other side of it all is that you could... you don't need the most expensive or cool looking board to try to start surfing, right? So, or do yoga with just your regular, not your morning shorts, but yeah.
I get it. Your point is Ticos and Gringos can hang out. It's okay.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Okay. That's a pretty good way.
Yes.
Angie.
For me, it's kind of aligned with what Christian said, that gap, and it's always bothered me as a Tica living here, that foreigners have maybe been living here for years and they don't make an effort to speak the language. So that's something that bothers me, and I think it widens that gap. I think if foreigners living here would speak more Spanish, it would make just everything so much easier.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, they could interact with each other.
Just trying it.
It's a good point.
They could hang out. They could be friends. They could, do projects together.
Well, it's almost like yours and Christian's are almost like perfectly aligned.
We were talking about this a little bit before, and it's tough. It's challenging, and makes me a little bit mad sometimes.
Well, hey,
But
use that
it is the way
anger.
it is, right?
Well, sort of. You can do something about it. Use that anger to help us find someone who can come help us type in the subtitles and help with translations, because we'd love to do that. However, right now it takes between 30 and 80, sometimes 100 hours to do a single episode. And we don't have the resources, the time, or any way, but we are looking for a volunteer. So if you can use that to get out there, we'd love also these, because we're talking in English right now. Someone somewhere that offends. We don't want that, but we're doing the best that we can.
Sure.
But that's a really good one. But point being, if your problem might be solved if Ticos and Gringos could actually communicate.
Yeah.
Yes,
That-
that's true.
Actually, it's
And I
everything
think-
about communication. That's even my dislike also, you know.
And I think it's really cool when you see somebody making an effort to speak Spanish. You know, maybe you feel like it's not, you know, like maybe you're not speaking well or whatever. Like how I see it as a tica is I really respect that. And it's super, you know, I appreciate that. It's very
That's
cool.
nice to hear,
Empowering.
because as a gringo who says everything wrong constantly in Spanish, it's incredibly embarrassing. And it's almost like, well, I'd rather just not say anything because I don't want to embarrass myself and be made fun of. A lot of
No.
people feel that way.
It's the opposite. The more you practice, the easier it's going to be. And the more, you know, like it's cool. It's cool if you're living in a country that speaks Spanish that you try to speak Spanish.
In other words, just try it.
Hard to quote Nike, just do it.
Just do it, yeah. Hashtag.
Well, those are all some good. Now we're going to get our podcast pulled. Or we have to give a shout out to Nike. So thanks, Nike. No, I want to thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so
All
much.
good
Thank you
ideas.
so much.
I
Everything.
really appreciate it.
Really excited about it.
Because having this space will give a lot of communication and also a good way just to spread out the word. And I think that we have a lot of good opportunities to work all together and close and merge that gap every time. So here I am, full of energy, as too many people knows me, and super happy to be on board. Thank you so much, Rich.
I thank you guys.
Thank you.